The views, thoughts, and opinions expressed in the podcast belong solely to the hosts and not the host's past, present, or future employers. All right, everybody, welcome back. It's Bryan for Breaking Down Security. This is the second week of our discussion on Sysmon with Amanda and Bryan. We're going to get right back into the discussion on Sysmon here. I know everybody was champing at the bit from last week's show, so hope you have a great week, and we'll talk soon. So I've posted the link to the Discord invite in our stream chat. I cannot guarantee that they will let you in or not. I don't know if they actually have any kind of vetting process, but they will ask you who the hell you are and why you're wanting to join. So,
That's amazing.
Yeah. I mean, it's a very active Discord, including things on like incident response and digital forensics. So you had some guy in there talking about how he's got stuff on a drive that's having issues and what to use, and obviously they weren't using Recover It Now or whatever the fuck it's called from Steve Gibson. But yeah, I was just wondering, because I was interested in this, because I was wanting in our other streams to talk about more of these write-ups and everything, and I was trying to figure out how you would take a CAC bot or something like this and generate that. So those are some excellent discussions. I have obviously no experience with generating threat intelligence or building these things.
And a lot of times it's the same crap that they do.
Really?
So yeah, it's a lot of repetitive IOCs. Like there may be a different file name or something, but there's
you see a new one come up. It's a brand new thing, right? It's fileless and all this stuff, and you read what it actually does, and you're like, oh, okay, I'm already detecting that, right? I've already made a rule, like 6 months ago for this. So whenever that rule comes up,
it's just Ryuk or whatever.
One.
Yeah. Okay. I would imagine it's over time, right? You're gonna build this up. You start with nothing, and then it's like, okay, I'm doing this, and then I'm doing this, and it's like, and then like you said, I've already seen this before. I'm already looking for this. I'm already detecting this. At some point, you're gonna hit like, I don't know, you're gonna hit a plateau where you may get a few bumps where something is new, but it's gonna level off at some point.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I was actually building out my threat intel list. I mean, there's been several write-ups from Attack IQ, Intel 471, Intezer, Red Canary, Scythe, Sequoia. They actually, so the reason that I got on this was the DFIR Discord has like a weekly threat intelligence quiz that you can do, and they have like 10 questions, and they're like, oh yeah, this country's, government got locked down because of this ransomware. Which one was it? And they give you like 4 questions. You get it wrong, hooray. Otherwise they give you the news article. You can go and read it. And I was like, oh wow, there's a lot of good write-ups here in this article that this person's generated. And they try to do this on a weekly basis. Linux Gamer, you can count our show technically as a CPE. So I don't know about Discords, but you can definitely count our podcast and our broadcasts as CPEs. So there you go. You're not wasting your time being here for free. So
I am. I don't need CPEs.
Well, I posted up on Reddit the other day on r/sysp. I went in to like add my 8 hours for B-Side Seattle, and I realized I had like 240 credit hours and I only need 120 in 3 years. And I was like, look, it's really easy to do this shit when you're like listening to podcasts and stuff. And everybody's like, how are you doing that? And I was like, podcasts, I don't even go to conferences and like chart stuff anymore. So, but yeah.
Yeah. And if you need 8 more hours, you can just listen to 8 hours of Breaking Down Security at double speed, and it'll take you 4 hours.
Yeah, but we talk so fast. We're like chipmunks.
Like if you listen to 8 hours at double speed, can you count it as 8 hours?
Technically, you listen to 8 hours of stuff. If it took you 16 hours of
8 hours.
What?
Right.
Loophole.
Well, the other loophole is if you read a book, you only get like a maximum of like 5 or 6 CPEs. But if you listen to the audiobook that may be 15 hours long,
Yeah,
I
15.
count it as 15 CPEs
Nice.
because it's a podcast,
That's
right?
a good one.
What if someone
didn't
reads
think of
the
that.
book to you?
Someone reads the book to you. That would be the worst bedtime story ever.
Yeah.
Well, children, let's listen to chapter 8 of TCP/IP Illustrated.
No,
Uh,
I did
You
get
wanted
an
to-
audiobook of a technical book, and it was like, A divided by C over, parentheses,
Oh no.
Yeah. less than, and like, okay, you're just trying to visualize this mathematical formula while driving.
Yeah. I mean,
Okay.
people have wanted my book to be like an audiobook. And one, my publisher won't do it. And
Yeah.
like, they're like, I kind of wanted to do it myself. But there's like
Right.
legitimate code in there. So what am like it
Right.
do I read that out? Like if I'm doing the audiobook myself, do I just like, well, I mean, Google it.
Well,
Reference
so
the
I have-
accompanying PDF, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And that's what they do. That's what they do. Reference the accompanying
Reference
PDF for
page.
the code or what
Yeah.
have you. Yeah. We had Tanya Yanka on last Monday, which would be the 18th, I think. And
So
she
sad.
mentioned Alice and Bob. Yeah. Alice and Bob Love Application Security. She has an audiobook. She read her own audiobook for that because Wiley allows those kinds of things. And I was like, yeah, there you go. Get Morgan Freeman to do your defensive security handbook. You can do that.
Yes.
I actually have a friend of mine. He's done some audiobooks. His name is Dominic Power. He was one of the crew members on Star Trek Enterprise. Hopefully we'll be able to see him on the cruise this week or this week. But
I
yeah,
mean,
Dominic
I
Power is
thought
his
we
name.
should do it because he's British, so like the accent maybe more
Oh,
people
yeah.
listen to it.
Oh yeah. He does stuff, and he told me about reading audiobooks. It was like, he's like, you have to read the book. Usually you have to read the book yourself and get all the pronunciations correct. Cause I think he did like the Iliad or the Odyssey. So it was a bunch of, weird names and pronunciations. But he had to read it, and you read it slowly and
Yeah.
pretty much enunciate every word, because then they can modify to make it faster. But it's like, you don't want to read too fast, because then if you read too fast and you make a mistake and whatever, and you do a chapter a day. He was doing a chapter a day, and it was like 8 days of one chapter. He was like, you got to have a good agent, you got to have a good producer, and a good sound editor, because you may have to read the same chapter like 5 times in a day, because you may miss an inflection, or they want more pizzazz on this line or something like it. He said it was almost worse than like doing TV shows and stuff. So, but yeah, I'll have to add more F-bombs. I just read your comment in the stream chat. So all right. So let me go back to the Sysmon page that I was looking at here. No, that's not it. Sysmon comes in a Linux flavor too. I'm not sure how that works. But Linux gamers actually trying to compile it for Linux. I'm not sure if it uses like Silverlight or something like that, but
Oh yeah, you can use it for Linux. It's not great.
it's not great yet, or not great.
No, the file type it saves it as. What was it? It was something terrible that was really sucky to parse.
Text.
It was something really bad. We use OS Query. We suggest OS Query much
OS Query.
better.
Okay. Yeah.
Actually,
All right. So Sysmon says includes the following capabilities, and it says it records the hash of a process image file using SHA-1, MD5, SHA-256, or IMP hash. Why is a hash important for these image process files? Is it to help, do write-ups like the CACbot thing that I had mentioned earlier, so that you can actually know definitively that is the file that is causing the issue?
Like
So this
IR
is just a verification
IR
thing. Okay. Includes a process.
Have you seen them used for anything else, Brian? Like for
Well, if a process changes, malware can change its process, especially if it's running in memory. You can't get the hash of that process, especially when you have this quote unquote fileless malware and it deletes itself from disk, right? So you don't know what the hash is of that thing. So if you can get the hash in your logs as it's starting up, right, and then it just writes the hash there, then you can query for that hash or look for it in the logs. If you're looking for a particular Trojan that has a hash, maybe it only runs in memory and deletes itself from disk. So you could look for the hash all day long on disk. You'll never find it.
Right.
But you would be able to find it in the logs if you had Sysmon.
Okay. This one I found interesting. They say it detects changes in file creation time to understand when a file was really created. Modification of file create timestamps is a technique commonly used by malware to cover its tracks. So what happens? It can actually modify its creation date?
Yeah, you can modify a file's creation date on disk. So if you're hunting on disk, those things could be modified. Those things are not set in stone. You can believe a lot of them, but if you're looking for malware that was created after, let's say, last Monday, you may not find it because it could modify its creation time to be 2 years ago, right?
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah.
But
in the logs, it'll say, hey, this file's creation time was modified. And that could be a red flag. Like, why would any legit application modify the creation time of a file? Windows does it, when the file is legitimately modified. Other files can modify that too. I don't know why. It's a feature of Windows, not a bug. Right?
Okay.
So yeah, you can do some pretty nasty things.
Right. Automatically reload configuration if changed in the registry. Is that it would automatically reload the registry configuration, or can somebody modify Sysmon and it would automatically know that it's been changed and go back to those versions? What do they mean by that?
Read it again.
So on the Sysmon site, it says one of the capabilities is it will automatically reload the configuration if changed in the registry.
Oh, yeah. If you change Sysmon configuration in the registry, it'll pick up that change real time.
You don't have to restart it.
Okay. Linux Gamer, I think, was asking an earlier question about, what kind of systems would change the creation date. Are we talking viruses or ransomware?
Legitimate systems? I do not know.
There's no legitimate system that would do that. I mean,
not that I can think of.
I wouldn't doubt it though. There's some really bad software. I mean, there's just poorly written software out there.
Right. Well, I mean,
if you can change the creation time, I don't know. Yeah, the creation.
Maybe you could do it to get around. Maybe you could get around it for DemoWare or something. You could use that. Change the real creation time to, change the. If it only lasts for 7 days and you keep moving the real creation date back, 2 weeks or something like that, and if it's supposed to expire.
Cracking software, though, that's not legit.
Right.
You said legit.
I hear you. I hear helicopters. Oh shit. Yeah. Don't fuck with the creation time if you can keep from it. So Linux Gamer says, well, asking a polymorphic virus can change its signature to avoid detection. So changing both the signature and creation date could avoid detection, or to avoid detection. Yeah. That makes sense. Being able to, if you're doing a find command or something and say, looking for files that may have been created today, if they're, they were created, quote unquote,
If you
last
think you
week,
got hacked today, right? You would look for files that
Right.
were created today.
Right.
Totally.
But if the creation date was, September 12th, 1999, then, that would make a lot of sense. But so Sysmon, you would never set it up to log to the disk directly. You would have it automatically point to your SIM, right?
Well, it does log to disk directly. And then you forward those logs from the disk.
Wherever you want.
Well, what keeps somebody from modifying the Sysmon logs before they get sent?
I mean, they get sent automatically, like in real time. You can
Pretty much real time. In
Yeah.
order to change them, you would have to read them. And by that time, your log forwarder's already read them.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So
plus-
it's good to it's good to stream them directly to your SIM and not say, oh yeah, let's wait and do it on the hour or do
You
it
can't.
every 2 hours. Oh,
You can't edit logs. You can't edit Windows logs.
You can delete them.
You not only can you delete them, but you can roll them too,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Real fast.
You can
Right.
just thrash like the registry,
Mhm.
add this
Okay.
key, delete it, add this key, delete it, add this key, in infinitum,
Right.
and your logs would roll. I mean, within minutes,
Yeah.
but
Right.
those would get forwarded.
Okay.
So,
All right. Hey, Jay Castle, what's up? Glad you can make it here tonight. All right. So,
I rolled
Is there
some
anything else
logs
we need?
once using UDP. It was an accident. It's an accident. But yeah.
I've had people roll them using 5156 logs, but that's because their disk couldn't keep up.
nice. See, for if I was a bad guy, I would want to just fill the logs with a bunch of junk, like sending network connections to local host or something to kind of fill it up with 5156 or whatever. Do you ever see any kind of stuff that tries to create noise like that so that it's harder to? No.
Not purposely. I've never seen it purposely. I've seen like a SQL server sending, a million errors per minute type thing.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Um,
I have
Good God.
heard of on-box white hats rolling logs because they see that you have no SIM, and that you may trigger on a delete.
right.
So they'll just roll them, and if you're not forwarding logs, then you have no record of them being there at that point once they roll them.
Yep.
Otherwise, they take a chance of those logs being there on disk for a week or more.
Okay.
Also, in regards to triggering on deleted log files, because you can clear the log file by channel or whatever.
Right.
So we've had to tell this to so many people. When you're reimaging systems, like usually when you reimage a system, clearing the logs is like part of that reimage process. You just
Right.
have to make sure you do that before you install the logging system, like the logging service.
Right.
Or like the forwarding of the logs, because we had a couple customers, like every time they would reimage a box, they would get the detection fire. Like they're like, oh well, we're just reimaging something. All right, you need to change the order of operations so you stop getting this.
Right.
So
Right.
they wouldn't delete the old logs. They would just delete the logs after they build the system, right?
Right.
So that it would start fresh.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So, there are a number of logs out there. You have EDR log, XDR logs, NDR logs, all this asterisk DR logs out there. How can Sysmon help your endpoint detection and your EDR, your Falcons and your Carbon Blacks of the world, or is that just something that's you're the face you're giving me right now, Miss Berlin, says that it doesn't.
So there was this podcast that I found out about because we ended up being featured on it, even though we didn't sign up for it, type of thing. Like,
Okay.
it's called 7 Minute Security, and
Oh, okay.
he was doing like this rundown of like detection platforms, and someone told him about us, and he like added us to like the 8th episode or whatever. It's amazing how many XDR, EDR, whatever software like by default don't detect really, really common stuff that you could do with Sysmon.
Right.
Like,
so do the asterisk DRs hook into the kernel the same way Sysmon does? Is this kind of like, or is it a different?
No, I don't think they can. I don't think the only one that can really hook into the kernel would be like Defender.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
Like Microsoft going to let anybody else do that? No.
That's true. Well, I do know that some EDRs or whatever are friendly with Defender. There may or may not have been a time where I knew that Defender didn't play nice with them. So trying to disable Defender so that certain DR products would not work on a host and not have conflict with the Windows Defender has an issue. Linux Gamer says, I wonder if you could create a race condition for log forwarding. You might have to research that possibility. Okay. Let us know if you actually create that race condition. You probably will, need to let Windows know, because that sounds like that might be a fairly hefty chunk of change if you can make that happen. If you can, get in the way of log forwarding or cause some kind of issue, before the logs are forwarded. So, maybe you put some kind of filter between,
There's a couple of downsides to Sysmon. One is if you don't configure it properly and you just say, I just want everything, you don't actually know what you're getting or know what you're doing. You could really hose your network, your system, your SIM, right? So you got to be careful with the config. The second thing is it does run as a service. So that service can be killed by attackers.
Right.
So they could kill your Sysmon logs. They can't kill your Windows logs, right? They can't.
Oh.
It's not possible.
Okay.
That I'm aware of. And so, I mean, they could downgrade your logs, I guess.
Yeah, like
but,
turn off, like if they get access to GPO or registry, they can like turn off different ones. Yeah.
Or if you don't have centralized control like that, they could audit poll, right? If they had administrator on the box. So they could turn off certain features, but they can't kill the default stuff like network connectivity, 4624s. That's always going to be there. So yeah, those two, aside from those two things, I mean, it's great. Yeah.
Very cool.
So you just got to watch, make sure you monitor that service. If Sysmon dies for some reason, you need to investigate, because it could be attacker on box.
Right. So will Sysmon generate a Windows event log saying that it has been shut off? I mean,
No.
how would you detect whether or not your Sysmon was turned off? You actually have to create a Sysmon.
You could create a log event that monitors
the
Sysmon service.
I do not have it on here. I think they have their own. Because it'll log when it's shut off. I'm pretty sure.
It's in the Windows logs. When a service dies or is killed or whatever, you can monitor that particular log.
Yeah. Well, you could also, set up some kind of detection where, hey, I haven't seen Sysmon logs from this host in, I don't know, 25 seconds. So, there might be a problem there or something.
25 milliseconds sometimes.
Right. Less than that.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Is there anything else we need to, was there anything else from your talk that we didn't bring up? How well was the talk received at RSA? I would imagine
coolest thing, I can't remember if I mentioned it to you or not. So the one use case I have talks about, gosh, what was it? NTDS util, I think, like dumping all of the hashes. Yeah, so like event ID 1 showing NTDS util running to dump everything via PowerShell. And like there's a registry value being set. And you can basically see it by looking for Windows Event ID 1, NTDS util, and then like there's other flags and stuff that you can look for. And one of the questions I asked is like, has anybody in the audience ever had to start like a 80 forest over from scratch or run through Microsoft's network eviction process? Because that's what you're supposed to do when like someone gets access to your domain controller and dumps all your ashes, because you never know if they have persistence or not. So you can like run through this Windows thing, or you can, I guess, migrate everybody to the cloud, or you can start a new forest over from scratch. And two people actually raised their hands. I'm like, oh, that's super cool. Like, tell me your stories afterwards. Like, it sounds like that's a resume building event, right? You're like, ah, crap.
Right.
Do I just like leave?
An RGE, resume generating event.
Yeah. And the one guy came up to me afterwards and he's like, yeah, like, you know, I've actually worked for Microsoft for a long time, and I was one of the 10 people that wrote that.
Nice.
Like, oh shit.
Nice.
That's great.
Whoopsie.
And you came to my talk, so thanks.
Nice.
Yeah, very interesting.
Well, that's cool. That sounds like an interesting networking. You know, maybe you can reach back out to that person and you know, have a better discussion.
I should have gotten his name. I feel like he gave me his card, but I was very like, I don't know, like I was nervous to get up on stage at RSA anyways. So like this was right afterwards, and like all the adrenaline, and blacked it, like couldn't even tell you what it looked like. Like it was just, yeah, well, that's all right.
You were
listen to the podcast to reach out again, man.
There you go. I'll make sure I get that pushed out to everybody on the Twitters, and we'll mention Arlof Hoth. How do you pronounce it? Hartong. Hartong. He was at DerbyCon, right? You and so Mr. Boettcher, you and Michael were talking to him, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. Didn't you go to that restaurant with him?
Me?
Oh, that's right. No, I did.
Break. Oh, okay. Yeah, you went along as well. So it was like, I think it was the four of us there. There may have been a fifth person that I don't recall. But, But yeah.
You didn't make it cool. Sysmon config.
Yep. So before we go, I actually mentioned in my TI, one of the TI streams when I was talking about some of the threat intelligence stuff, I went to malwarearchaeology.com where the logging cheat sheets were, and everybody was like, yes, I've seen those. They're really awesome and stuff. They're getting a little long in the tooth. They haven't been updated in 3 or 4 years. Are they still applicable? Or are there new things that need to be added, or are they in the process of being added?
No, they're still applicable.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
Definitely.
I mean, there's a, if I recall, there's a Sysmon cheat sheet. There's a PowerShell logging cheat sheet. So.
Okay. I didn't know, like some of them say like, 2020, 2019, 2016. And I was like, are they still legit, or maybe they need to get updated, or is there anything new that maybe needs to get added?
I'll have to go back and look. I think there was one thing that I was going to ask you guys to add, and I can't remember. It has to do with golden tickets, maybe. Let's see if I can find it.
Malware archaeology resources.
I seem to remember
sheets.
Putting those logs into LogMD. I think the cheat sheets actually get them right into the logs. Now, of course, you have to configure your detections.
Okay. So there's the Windows logging cheat sheet. Last was updated February 2019. The file auditing cheat sheet was November. I think I was looking in here because somebody had mentioned in one of those threat intelligence feeds certain attachments that needed to be blocked or turned on and changed to notepad.exe as y'all have mentioned in the past. And I was trying to find that sheet where it was like the list of extensions that you should set up in your Windows boxes to associate files to notepad.exe instead of running like JavaScript, system things. I ran out of time because I was like, oh, I'm not finding it. I'll talk to Mr. Boettcher and or Hacker Hurricane and talk about that later on. But yeah, I was just trying to keep an eye out on that. So Sysmon logging cheat sheet. There it is. Okay.
Yeah, I cannot find out. It was for Kerberos.
Here for all of the folks. It's a PDF. PDF is safe. The PDF is safe. Looks like it was updated January 2020. So, there's some real interesting stuff in there about how to set up your Sysmon logging version 10, up to 10.2. So I don't know what version Sysmon is in right now, but all of that stuff should still be applicable to that. For Linux Gamer, I don't know how to work with Windows or for the Linux side of Sysmon. I would imagine there's probably somebody out there who's written something on Sysmon for Linux that you might be able to follow up with and go through. So, but wow, yeah. Sysmon good. Set it up if you don't have it. Understand the limitations. It is a service. It can be turned off. It's not your Windows logging event IDs in that case, but it will give you great insights into what is needed. And any last thoughts before we go? Because we're at an hour and 35 minutes. So I'm sure I'll be able to pull a little bit of information out for the 2 episodes that we'll do for this while I'm on vacation.
Yeah, I mean, I'd like to give the full talk at some point, so that would be cool.
Yeah, we can definitely do that. Yeah, I didn't know if you had a screen, where you would.
I'm in an empty room right now with a bunch of random equipment.
Oh,
so not having
and you'll be. You get off this stream, you'll be over there huffing paint or whatever, So
No, it was earlier. I do that pre-podcast.
Oh, nice little warm up. It's cool.
Used to be on my game. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, do you have a conference coming up soon that you're planning on applying to? Maybe for the Sysmon Chalk. Maybe
I'm giving it at Blue Team Con.
Oh,
because of all of the stuff that happened that I couldn't give it last time. I had several conferences reach out to me and ask if I would give it at theirs. Right. So I think I'm giving it at Blue Team Con.
Okay. Very cool. I wonder when that is. Let me see. What date is Blue Team Con?
Sorry.
Oh.
Stuff Con.
Could it be conflicting with anything that I know about? Let me see. Oh. Yeah, no, nothing comes to mind.
Ooh, yeah. We have a conflict.
Nothing important comes to mind that could be conflicting with Blue Team Con. Oh, wait. Oh, that, right.
Oh, there's not the little bear butt on your t-shirt, though.
No, I don't have the new shirts yet coming in. I got to order those. But yeah, InfoSec Camp Out is the same weekend as Blue Team Con. If you're in, Dragon Con's also that weekend, too.
Really? Oh, man.
Oh, no. Let me go see.
There's a little bit of an overlap there.
Oh, my goodness. Oh, no, it's 1 September to 5 September. Yeah, it's not going to get in the way. Okay. So Linux Gamer, I have a conference, InfoSec Camp Out, which is happening the same weekend as Blue Team Con, and Miss Berlin doesn't like us enough to come to our conference. So
Chicago's within driving distance.
No, I'm just kidding. Frank and them, they put on a good show. I'd imagine this is the second year they've done it. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So.
And
yeah, they put on a good show.
And Raven Village, and
yeah.
So
it's fine. It's fine. But it is what it is. We're completely different conference, so it makes sense that I've had a lot of people are like, hey, I don't like camping, so I really don't want to come. And I'm like, look, you don't have to camp. You just drive in, do whatever, and go. But it is what it is. So but yeah, so cool. That's I did not hit enter on that. So yeah,
that's coming up next. We're having Mental Health Hackers is having a brunch and an all-day village thing that we're just doing ourselves because they said no to our official village. Which if you a little bit of a noise for me. If you look at like the village like layout of all of the different villages there's just like I don't know. I called BS on the fact that they didn't have a room for us, but we're going to have our own 2,000 square foot suite and we're going to make brunch for people and we're going to have our own talks and do our own thing.
2,000 foot suite. That's bigger than my house.
Yeah.
Shit.
So we have Trusted Sec sponsored, Gate 15 and Sands. And we're looking for more sponsors. If anybody wants to sponsor, like buying 50 bottles of champagne.
See, you lost me at the 50 bottles of champagne. Yeah. I don't think the IEF would like to, I don't think the IEF would like to donate bottle service to, people. So
no, we're renting. We need to rent equipment to give our talks and stuff too. So there's random stuff.
It's expensive to rent stuff from the hotels.
That's why we're not. We were gonna do brunch through Caesars. Well, we were gonna try and find a catering company, but you're not allowed. So you have to do brunch through Caesars, and it's $45 a person for coffee, tea, and fruit, and it's like $95-$100 for a full brunch per person. And we were
real food real food. Yeah, for
real food. So we were expecting like 200, 300 people, and that's like $30,000.
Jesus Christ.
Like we don't have 30 grand first off. So we rented a car and we're going to drive to Costco or Sam's Club or whatever and do everything ourselves.
Nice.
So I have 4 helpers and we're going to make brunch ourselves in a suite without a kitchen. So it should be really fun.
You get them big ass muffins from, Costco and, you'd be solid. So, yeah.
Yep.
Well, cool. All right. Well, all of that won't probably make it on the actual podcast because by the time this airs, it'll be after that. So, but I did hear there were like 34 village parties, according to the DC 253 Discord. There are 34 sub villages
because like we're not official.
It's crazy. Well, I'll mention it to the DC 253 folks, the DEF CON group up here in Tacoma, and make sure that they're aware of that. If you have a website or something, I can send them the link to that if you want to.
Just ours. Yeah. I mean, we've just been tweeting out about it.
Okay. Does that make them the village people? Yes, 100%. Everyone is the village people. Yeah, I actually think you could go to Vegas without getting a ticket to DEF CON or Black Hat and still see everybody.
100%.
Yep. So, all right. Well, I think we probably can go. I'd like to thank everybody for staying with us on the stream here. Appreciate everybody getting on and following Linux Gamer. Thank you for coming and hanging out. I'm going to have a couple of streams this week with just doing some normal stuff, some news of the week, probably Tuesday and Thursday. Friday we'll be flying, so it'll be short week for me. And then I will be out until August the 15th. So streaming and podcasts, live podcasts will be on hold until the 16th. But we'll have plenty of stuff here, and you've got about 200 hours of Twitch streams if you want to just get your fill in here. So Linux Gamer, you need some CPEs. There's about 200. There's about 5 years of CPEs available on our Twitch stream if you subscribe. You can do an Amazon Prime subscription, or you can, just subscribe for a month. And, there are ways to just, bulk download videos if you want to do that. I kind of do that for some other stuff that I follow, using YouTube download and some interesting discussions. But if you subscribe you via Amazon Prime, or you can just, hit the subscribe button and, tell a friend, you can do some gift subscriptions or something like that. So, Miss Berlin, how would people find you if they wanted to ask more about Sysmon, hackers health, mental health hackers, IR tabletops, etc.? How would they find you and ask you about any of those things?
Mostly at InfoSystir, INFOSYSTIR, and Hackers Health.
Cool. Okay. Hackers Health. Yep. All right, Mr. Boettcher, same question. If people wanted to talk to you about maybe the Sysmon cheat sheet on malware archaeology or log-md.com, how would they get a hold of you to talk about those things?
Yeah, go to those websites and look me up.
Okay. And you're on Twitter at?
Boettcher Pwned. My last name, PWNED.
Right. And if you just stick around until the end of the show, the end screen will also have a ticker of all of our Twitter handles. You can follow me on Twitter at Bryan Brake. The broadcast/podcast is at BrakeSec. Hackers Health, InfoSec Roleplay. I believe that you're still doing some IR tabletops for folks from time to time, Miss Berlin. And of course, that was it for the show this week. Hope you have a great week. We'll be back next week with a new episode. Thank you to all of our Patreon supporters and our Twitch subscribers as well for their help in showing their love and support. And you can do so too by a 5-star review on a podcast platform, or letting us know where you listen to the podcast, so that way we can give them some love too. So thank you all again. Reminder, take care of yourself, and those around you, because, we're all about making sure that people stay safe and take care of themselves, because as we're fond of saying, you're the only you have, and we'll talk to you again soon.